A lot of people have asked me how to animate, and there is already a tutorial uploaded on my channel, but that was from many months ago, so I decided to make an updated version, so I can show you guys the new things I've learned. First, get your body sheet. It should be chopped up like the gacha body sheet. I used the gacha body sheet because I'm honestly too lazy to draw a new one. Get all of the different sprites, select them all, and put them into a light motion as shown here. The next thing to do is to set a pivot point. You can get to it by double-clicking on the Move and Transform part. In simple words, a pivot point is like a joint of how your element moves. For the rest of the body parts, set the pivot point at where you think the joint will be. The next thing to do is to add parenting. Pretend all of these body parts are just homeless orphans, all separated from each other and they won't move together. If you don't want to animate like you're in a Minecraft hardcore world, parent the layers. For example, parent the face to the head, so the face will move together with the head when you're moving it. Do the same with the rest of the layers, and you can select all the layers to group it and save it as an element to use in other projects. I'll be making an animation based off Yan's Shelly animation. First, I sort out the faces based on the reference.
Hi guys, I'm Eleanori, and I made the thumbnail of this video. Go sub to Riri please, if you don't I'll be really sad. Okay, bye!
When animating facial expressions, I typically use an ease-in graph at the end of the first expression, and the next expression will have an ease-out graph at the start of it. I use squash and stretch to make a smoother transition between the two expressions. Now it's time for the actual animation. I'm animating rotation based on my reference. This shouldn't be too hard, just follow what your reference is doing. Even though I've moved all of the body parts, it still looks very stiff. To fix this, we can also use other types of movement, such as position, size, and skew. For smoother movement, you can also copy and paste the graphs that you used in the rotation at the first part of the animation and paste it onto the current ones. A good tip to do is to animate all parts, or as much as possible, animate the parts, using all types of movement to make it more interesting. You can even exaggerate the movement if that's your animation style. For the last part of the animation, I will do the bouncing or cycling animation that most people ask me how to do. I'll also be going through the effects that I use often on my animations. The most common movement effect I use is probably either oscillate or swing. They're very easy to use and make your animation super smooth. For oscillate, the angle adjusts the direction it is moving, the frequency adjusts the speed, and the magnitude adjusts the distance that it moves. Swing is pretty much the same as oscillate, except the distance it moves is actually adjusted by angles. I usually use one number that is either positive or negative for this setting. You can also copy and paste the oscillation and swing to other parts of the body and adjust the magnitude or angle. For breathing, I use the pinch and bulge effect. Change the center to like the center of the element where the lungs should be. Adjust the radius to how big the breathing should be, and use the strength. I usually put a negative and positive amount to simulate the inhale and exhale. When inhaling and exhaling, the arms usually move up and down, so that's what I'm doing here. I forgot to mention that I use the cyclic graphs, but they are behind Alight Motion Pro, which I do have. But if you don't have Alight Motion Pro, just click Try It first when the pop-up appears, and watch the ads later when you're going to export the video. Copy and paste the same cyclic graph for all of the body parts, and use as much motion as possible like I told you before. It makes the animation smoother and more interesting. I don't know how else to describe it. Here, I use Wavewarp to animate the hair. The angle adjusts the direction of the waves, the spacing adjusts the distance between each wave, the magnitude adjusts the strength of the waves. You can copy and paste the effects to the rest of the hair and even some parts of the body. Adjust some parts of the element, it makes it a bit more smooth. Now it's time to show you how I do my lighting. Firstly, I duplicate my group 2 times. 2 times? On the third group, I apply the Exclude Blending mode. I move the group in the opposite direction of where the light will be coming from and group it with the second group. Then, on the new group, I can change the color to whatever I want. It doesn't matter whether it's light or dark. On this group, go to Blending mode again and choose Lighten and Linear Dodge. You can change the opacity. On this lighting layer, I usually add a glow effect and edit it to look like some sort of glow is radiating off this character. I also add solid color to the bottom layer and set it to multiply so that the ambient surroundings, which is dark, will reflect onto the character, making it more realistic. After adding some final touches, this is what the animation looks like. Come on. this tutorial isn't step by step going through every single thing, and that's the point because all animations are supposed to be different and unique. To be an actual animator, I feel that you should probably experience yourself or how to do your own things. That's how I found out how to use my own effects or style of animation. There's hundreds of effects and hundreds of ways you can animate things, and I think you guys should go find out by yourself. That's just my points for now. Bye!